What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. Even though we did talk about Derek Lunsford yesterday as well, it is almost mandatory to talk about this physique update, as he is the reigning Mr. Olympia champion right now. So his next competition is obviously gonna be Mr. Olympia 2024, and that show is in October, like 6 months away from now. But his condition right now says otherwise. He's obviously fully pumped here after a full training session, and the lighting here is absolutely perfect. The lighting here is gorgeous. But he is gonna be pumped as well when he steps on stage in October at the Olympia. And I have to say he looks absolutely stunning right now. Just take a look at the fullness of his chest and that insane roundness that he has. I have to say I have never seen that on him before. So will he be able to hold on to all that density, all that fullness when it's time to step on stage? Well, ideally speaking, he should be able to. And he himself knows that his front shots need to improve. And when we say improve for Derek, that means more striations up top. And one of the major reasons for that is the guy he is going up against. That is Shaban, who has one of the best striations in the history of this sport. And his conditioning is second to none. He looks so damn hard in all of the front shots. So Derek needs to close that gap. Now as far as the structure and the symmetry is concerned, we all know he is the best out there. One of the best proportions in bodybuilding right now. His legs are looking absolutely massive, and this is what we have been talking about constantly. Derek somehow loses some of the pop and the volume of his quads when he gets into that peak week, when he drops the water. Now, don't get me wrong, his legs looked really great at this past Mr. Olympia, really separated. But the margin of improvements were a lot still. And it isn't about the separation in his quads from the front, it is the volume and the size. That back double bicep is mind-blowing even in the off-season. The hamstrings are so separated right now. The lower back looks in a decent position. And all this says volumes about Derek's dedication to the bodybuilding lifestyle. And he has been eating cleaner this year compared to 2023. And this is only gonna make this year's prep easier, because he's gonna be so lean at the starting point of the prep. So Derek isn't looking to be the best guy at the Pittsburgh Pro guest posing, which is now less than 2 weeks away. He himself said that yesterday in his YouTube video, that he wants to be at his best at this point in time in the off-season. Because obviously Nick Walker and Martin Fitzwater, these guys are going to be in a contest ready shape. Because they will be competing at the New York Pro just 1 week after that. But that being said, nobody can mess with that X frame, that V-taper. So I have to say Derek is going to stand out nonetheless. Samson Dauda is going to be all natural at the Pittsburgh Pro guest posing. So you aren't really natural once you start taking all these compounds, all those PEDs. But my hat's off to Samson Dauda, because he might be one of the few guys left who actually comes off everything, just like guys used to do back in the 80s and the 90s when they were done with the competition season. Because in this day and age, it's either blasting or it's cruising. So considering all that, how Samson has been able to hold on to that 311 pounds, that I have to say is just insane. This just goes to show us that he is meant to be big. I'm pretty sure most of you guys miss out on his stories where he talks to his followers, because he is relaxing and taking a chill pill these days, especially in terms of the training and the dieting. But he did say something very interesting that will make you curious.
Well, this week we got a lot of interesting things happening this week. Obviously we got Pittsburgh guest posing next week, so yeah, a lot going down the next 2 weeks. So yeah, man, I'm gonna stay tuned and I'll let you guys know. But this week is definitely gonna be an interesting one. Interesting thing happening this week. But can't say anything until the time is right. But yeah, it will be very interesting.
So something extremely big is happening this week. So what could that be? Is Samson gonna announce who is gonna be his next coach? Because what could be a bigger news than this one? Well, Samson parting ways with his current sponsor, Hostile Supplements. I mean, if something like that happens, that is gonna be mind-boggling. Because Samson has been with Hostile Supplements even before he was close to winning his first pro show. That is how far back these guys go. But people can change. I mean, no one saw this coming, that Samson Dauda and Milos Sarcev, after having achieved so much in the last couple of years, after making such an incredible bond, that these guys will actually split up. No one saw that coming. No one saw Samson parting ways with Milos, but he had to make that decision because he isn't getting any younger. And there are only a few years when you are at your prime, especially in the sport of bodybuilding. And when you are in your mid-30s, you have to think about these things. So cannot wait for Samson to kickstart this off-season and make some major improvements on the road to his third ever Mr. Olympia competition. And here is a question for you guys. Can Samson Dauda beat Nick Walker once again at the Olympia in October? Next up, we have a physique update from Stafon. So does it seem like he's losing any fullness right now? Because he is almost at the midway of his prep now. Well, he looks full-blown in these pictures. So he was unable to really hit his mark in any of the shows that he did last year. But still, he was able to qualify for the Olympia. Now, could he have been in that top 10? Maybe he could have. I mean, Bjorn Wesley Wiesers, who was in the 7th place last year. Most of us won't even remember, who was 8th, 9th or 10th last year. So what really excites the classic physique fans the most when it comes to Stefan is his new coach, Patrick. Because Patrick Tuor is that same guy who helped Keon Pearson achieve the best conditioning of his career and also helped him win his first ever 212 Mr. Olympia title. And Keon really wasn't able to hit his mark in any of the shows before he started working with Patrick Tuor. And after these guys started working together, everything just immediately clicked. He took a guy like Michael the Bull, who we all know isn't the most classic guy out there, to be top 6 in the world. And I believe all of us can agree on this, that Stefan is absolutely an incredible talent. He has the most roundness and 3D looking arms. He has the most 3D looking delts. His chest has striations on top of striations. And that is something that has been missing from the bodybuilding stages recently. We do not see that kind of quality anymore on the stage. His quads are really good, really full, deep separated lines. His back is equally impressive. He is a very complete guy front to back, top to bottom. So wishful thinking here. If only Stefan wasn't so restricted with his weight cap, and if he was allowed to bring more fullness to the stage, he could have been so deadly. Nonetheless, I think his best is loading, and this year, we are gonna see another classic physique star make his Olympia debut in October. So let's end this video with the physique update of Mohmmad Shaban. And considering that he took the entire of last year completely from competing, he had a pretty disappointing year so far. Now, no one really expected him to crack top 5 at the Arnold Classic Ohio or at the Arnold UK, but we expected him to place better than 10th, and that was the lowest Arnold Classic placing this year. And that means he also got beat by Horst 70 as well, who was really off at that show, and also Justin Rodriguez, who too wasn't that impressive. So I have no idea why he chose to skip Detroit Pro, because he was one of those guys who was being talked about as an official Detroit Pro competitor, because he was really interested in doing that show. So Shaban is still training with Chris Lewis aka Psycho Fitness, and they are back to the drawing board. And I have to say it is just a matter of genetics at this point, because this is the highest level we are talking about. And Shaban doesn't have the prettiest physique, and he isn't the most muscular guy either. So he really has to play to his strengths. And one of the most important variable that will determine whether he will be on the Olympia stage this year or not is gonna be what show he plans to do next, what show he chooses to do, because that is gonna be really important. Because if a big name chooses to do one of the shows that he's gonna be competing in, I have to say Shaban is gonna be in trouble. So hit the thumbs up button if you like the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.